morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla here, aka The Definition. Hitting y'all with this quick live stream that I was supposed to do yesterday, but I never got around to it. So here I am doing it this morning. And it's not going to be, it doesn't need to be a long live, right? So I want to talk about Derrick James, legendary boxing coach who was the coach of Errol Spence. I'm not sure if he's still coaching Frank Martin, also the one of the Charlo brothers. He won Trainer of the Year, I believe, in 2023 or 2024, one of those years. I'm not too sure right now. As it stands right now, I have no idea what year that was, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, he is a great coach, a great trainer. And, you know, his fighters don't all have perfect records, but, you know, he is one of the ones, or he used to be. But then he took Ryan Garcia under his wing prior to Ryan Garcia's fight with Devin Haney. He was Ryan Garcia's coach when he fought Oscar Duarte, after Ryan Garcia basically fired Goosen after his loss against Gervonta Tonka Truck Davis. Now, we know Ryan Garcia popped dirty for performance-enhancing drugs and got suspended for a year. And it appeared that Derrick James was no longer going to be Ryan Garcia's coach or trainer. Ryan Garcia had went to the Reynosos, you know, to train with them, but they didn't want no parts anymore, right? Because he trained with the Reynosos, with Eddie Reynoso, back in the day, right? And he basically got kicked out of the gym for being on some clown shit. But, you know, that's another story. Fast forward to the Devin Haney fight. Ryan Garcia pops dirty. And then not too long after that, he goes on a racist rant. Basically, at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia is a racist motherfucker, right? He had all the passion and energy for those racist comments in the world. And yeah, he's a racist motherfucker. And what happens after Eddie Reynoso basically kicked Ryan Garcia out of his gym in recent time? Well, he went back to Derrick James, and Derrick James took him back. Okay? Derrick James took Ryan Garcia back after all the bullshit that Ryan Garcia pulled. The racist comments, the goddamn the performance enhancing drug usage. Now, my question would be, how much did Derrick James know about the performance enhancing drugs? Was he aware of them? Did he help administer them? Because now I can't put nothing past this motherfucker. I can't put nothing past Derrick James because he's clearly out for the money. But most importantly, he is a fucking coon. Point blank and period, right? Everybody wants to give this man grace. Not everybody. You know, a lot of people are calling it like it is. Right? He's a coon, right? He sold out. He broke code to sell out for racist Ryan Garcia. And so, at the end of the day, the dude is a coon. I don't care what nobody says. You know, there is no benefit of the doubt. We gave Derrick James benefit of the doubt after Ryan Garcia went on that racist rant. And it no longer appeared that Derrick James was going to fuck with Ryan Garcia. But that was not the case. Derrick James sat on that goddamn podium the other night for the final press conference and was confronted by Bill Haney. Now, Derrick James is a man of few words, right? He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't speak a lot. He doesn't talk shit. He doesn't do any of that. But when confronted with the questions Bill Haney asked, and Bill Haney did not ask too many hard-pressing questions, right? Bill Haney could have been a lot more disrespectful to Derrick James. But it's clear that Bill Haney has respect for Derrick James because he basically took it easy on him, which I don't fault Bill Haney for. But Bill Haney did ask very important questions. Are you going to handle the weight cut this time, Derrick James? Were you aware that Ryan Garcia was on performance-enhancing drugs? Is Ryan Garcia going to be clean this time? He asked very important questions. He doesn't need to ask a lot of questions. Queen Mother Shaquila, how you doing this morning? You know, but there are more questions that one could have asked Derrick James. Like, how much did it take for you to sell out your people? How much did it take for you to break code? Do you believe that Ryan Garcia is suddenly no longer a racist? Are you his boy? That's what I would ask Derrick James. Are you Ryan Garcia's boy? I'm sure Queen Mother Shaquila understands what I'm saying when I say boy, right? Are you Ryan Garcia's little boy? How much did it take for you to sell out? How much did it take for you to sit here on this goddamn stage, on this podium, or not this podium, and sit right next to Ryan Garcia and basically accept his behavior? You're silent, right? Bill Haney's asking these questions. This is something that we need to understand. Words matter, right? But so does silence. Silence matters as well. And when someone commits heinous behavior and commits heinous acts, and, you know, they be on that bullshit, and everybody's looking at them like, look, you exposed yourself. You got exposed. Ryan Garcia got exposed as a drug cheat and a racist. But now you sit next to him, and you're not answering Bill Haney's questions. There is an old adage that aptly applies to this scenario, and it's silence is approval. Silence is approval, right? If you see somebody, if you're with a friend, and, you know, you guys are walking down the street, and all of a sudden, this motherfucker wants to play the knockout game and walks up to an elderly person and punches the elderly person in the face and knocks them down and starts kicking them. And, yeah, you're not... What? Is it raining? The fuck? Make it make sense. There's no clouds. Anyway, if you sit there, you're not participating, you're not helping, you're not kicking, you're not punching, but you're standing there and you're doing nothing and you're silent and you're not saying, hey man, stop that shit. Then guess what? Even if in your mind you're like, man, this shit is wrong, man, what the fuck? You approve of the behavior. Now, it may sound like a fallacy, right? It may sound like a fallacy. It may appear to be fallacious, but it's not. They may appear to be a fallacious statement. It may not appear to be logical to say just because you're not speaking up against it doesn't mean you approve of it. Well, approval is more than just silent protest. Approval is more than just a stream of consciousness that no one else hears when you're saying, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this ain't right, this ain't right, this ain't right. Well, no one can hear you saying that, and your actions aren't displaying that you don't agree with this. And in the meantime, this person is getting kicked and punched. This elderly woman is basically getting beaten to death right in front of you. And you did nothing to stop it. You didn't speak up. You didn't put hands on that motherfucker and say, hey, you didn't grab him around his full throat and pull him away. No, you didn't do any of that. Just because you didn't do it, and just because in principle you might not agree with doing it, does not mean that you did not approve of the behavior. Silence is approval. And Derrick James sat his full ass on that dais, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and silently approved of Ryan Garcia being a drug cheat and a racist. Just like he approved of Henry Garcia calling Bill Haney a nappy head. Derrick James approved of that. He sat right next to Henry Garcia, listened to him say that, and said nothing. Oh, well, Derrick James doesn't speak up. He doesn't speak a lot. So what? Queen Sister Cameron, how you doing? Big Soldier MX, how you doing this morning? Does Derrick James not have operable or operating vocal cords? Does Derrick James not have a voice box? Is he like the DOC? Did he get in a car accident and crush his neck? I don't understand. Because he's coaching people. So in order to coach someone, you have to be able to give instruction. So apparently he can speak. If he's coaching somebody and somebody is not performing the drill properly or the technique properly, they're off, he's going to speak up and say something. Otherwise, he's a failure as a fucking coach. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? I've never been coached or coached anybody or trained anybody before. When I used to coach football, I coached football for a couple years. For kids, of course. For kids. Now, I was not around any, so all these coaches, we would go to practice. There's dozens of well, not dozens, maybe a dozen or half a dozen or a little more than a dozen coaches on the field. None of them were quiet when they were giving instructions to these children. None of them were silent. They all had to speak. They all had to yell. They all had to blow the whistle. Derrick James did not speak. He did not blow a whistle against Henry Garcia and Ryan Garcia. Why? Because it might make him cringe inside when Ryan Garcia is behaving in a fool-ass manner. He may cringe inside when Bill asked these important questions. But guess what? That money, hey, the money's too good. The money's too good. The money is too good. So therefore, I would ask again, how much money does it take for you to coon out? How much money does it take for you to break code? Is Ryan Garcia the wealthiest boxer? Did he need Ryan Garcia? Right? Could he not have sold himself to any other fighter and gotten a similar amount of money? Could he not have? Not even just a black fighter. You know, it doesn't matter what. Maybe a fighter that's not a fucking racist drug cheat. Is that possible? Could it have been a thing for Derrick James to get that money elsewhere? These are questions I would ask. Did you have to take Ryan Garcia back? Did you have to take Ryan Garcia back? Was that something that you had to do? Would you have been destitute without Ryan Garcia? I don't understand. These are questions I would ask. And hell, maybe somebody out there in New York can ask these questions of Derrick James. If they can get a hold of him, if they can see him, if they run into him. How much money did it take for you to coon out? That would be a viral moment. That would have been a viral moment. Right? It would have been a viral moment. How much? Now, because you're forever a coon. There's no coming back from it. Unless there are certain things you would have to do, right? If you wanted to come back and redeem your coonery, you would have to do something very drastic. You would have to do something very drastic, right? Like jump in front of a bullet for another black person that's being persecuted, or maybe jump in front of the whip. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe orchestrate, help some runaway slaves or whatever. What would the equivalent of that be today? How would Derrick James be able to redeem himself? You see, Trey Titan was good. James is very disappointing. Not just disappointing, infuriating. See, we're using soft words, right? Disappointing. I'm disappointed. Oh, I'm very upset. I'm saddened. Now, I'm not mad at you, Trey Titan. I mean, you can feel how you want to feel, right? But why are you disappointed? See, we have to ask ourselves these questions. If you say, oh, I'm disappointed in Derrick James, I'm very surprised and saddened. Well, why? Derrick James, oh yeah, I know. Alicia Baumgartner went over there. I find that very interesting as well. I know at one point, Alicia Baumgartner was entertaining working with the Haneys. But then, I guess, from what I understand, when she got popped dirty, they had to distance themselves. Now, Alicia Baumgartner was able to demonstrate that she did not indeed pop dirty. She was able to clear herself. But Ryan Garcia never did that. Ryan Garcia never did that. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia never cleared his name. What he did was he pled out, right? He pled out, and, the New York State Athletic Commission said, okay, well, we'll just get you for not reporting your supplements. But people want to say, oh, well, he didn't get suspended for drug abuse, for using PEDs. He got suspended for not reporting the supplements. Well, the not reporting of the supplements would not be a thing if Ryan Garcia never popped dirty. It only becomes an issue if you pop dirty. See that? They think these things happen in a vacuum. Nothing happens in a vacuum. One thing always leads to another. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? They didn't just say, oh, well, let's bring Ryan Garcia, put him in front of the New York State Athletic Commission, have this hearing, and just for no reason say, well, why didn't you report the PEDs? Oh, well, my bad. All right, well, we'll suspend you for a year. No. The non-reporting of the supplements would not be a thing if Ryan Garcia never popped dirty. Ryan Garcia pops dirty, right? He had to report. He had to give a log or a record of the supplements he was using in competition, right? In competition, right? During the training camp, they call that in competition. There's in competition and out of competition. Ryan Garcia only got drug tested in competition. Oh, no, in out of in competition, I think it's like 24 hours or something like that before the fight or something like that. But in competition, out of competition, he, he got tested or whatever. What am I saying? What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, nonetheless, Ryan Garcia is a fucking drug cheat, right? Oh, well, yeah. So, if during the testing he did not pop dirty, there would not be a reason for them to go through and go through the existing list that Ryan Garcia gave and then ask, well, show me what you actually used. If you use anything not on this list, let us know, and then we'll test the supplement and we'll see if it was contaminated. Well, when he gave them the list of the supplements that he said Scooter gave him, the perfect aminos and the other thing, Well, then that's not on the list, right? So therefore, we're going to fine you and suspend you for that because you pled down, right? You pled down from the PD usage so that you can get a reduced penalty and not have to drag this thing out in the hearing, right? So that is why that happened. You right, LOL. I wasn't expecting James to be so fraudulent. Yeah, straight up, Titan, Trey Titan. He's a Sambo. Point blank and period, right? Point blank and period. That man is a Sambo. It's not like no one knew. It's not like he can't say, "Oh, well, I didn't know Ryan Garcia did all this," like Rampage Jackson did, right? No, was it Rampage? Yeah, the dude, you know, the MMA dude that was cooning out for Ryan Garcia, who claimed he didn't know that Ryan Garcia went on a racist rant. You don't have that excuse. Derrick James does not have that excuse. Anyway, I gotta get up in here and get my adjustment, and then I gotta go do some sprints because I love me some sprints, y'all. Oh, by the way, I am done traveling for work, y'all. Within the next few weeks, I'll be starting my I'm gonna take some vacation time, and then I'm going to be starting my new position, and I will no longer have to be traveling. So I'm excited about that. I'm done being in Georgia. I can never go back to Georgia. Well, let me not say that, because there are parts of Georgia I still want to go to, but I can never go to Atlanta ever again in my life and be happy. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting that like button. And yeah, we're gonna keep March 4th.